Good morning to all. Shall I start the session? This editorial is all about problems in Uttarakhand because of development, infrastructure development, and based on the problems, how the people responded. It starts with a report. Based on the report, the people of Uttarakhand started fleeing. Flee means what? Run away. They started running away from that place. Then it talks about the reasons behind the problems over there. Then the response of the government. This goes with the first part. Second part talks about the information, the reports, what information they have given, what should be the solutions. And finally, the main idea of the editorial, when it comes to development, they have to draw a line. Draw a line means what? Don't cross a limit. There should be a limit. And it touches the second dimension, information dissemination. Means information should be given to the public. Otherwise, it results in confusion. These are the two dimensions. Shall I start with the tone of the editorial? The tone of the article appears to be informative, critical, and concerned. Underline all the three words. Informative, critical, and concerned. It provides information about a serious issue in Uttarakhand, particularly in the context of infrastructure development and its associated risks. That's what I said. Development problems. The author is critical of the government's handling of information. This is all about two dimensions. One goes with dissemination of information, spreading information, giving information to the public, one dimension. Second dimension goes with the risks and also goes with drawing a limit when it comes to infrastructure development. Information related to these risks and emphasizes the importance of transparency. Transparent, I'm sure you all know what is the opposite of the word transparent. Opaque. But here transparency means what? Being open. Please write the meaning. Here transparency means being open. It goes with the government. The government has to be transparent, means open to the public. And informed decision making. There is a sense of urgency and concern for the well-being of the people living in the region. And the article suggests that sustainable and well-informed policy making is crucial for addressing the challenges faced by Uttarakhand. Article suggests what? Sustainable. We have got this word many a time. What is the meaning of the word sustainability? Using the resources in a wise manner. Using the resources in such a way that the future generations can also have the resources. You all know the word sustainable. And what is the second dimension? Well-informed policy making. Public should know what is happening. They should not hold the information. Shall I go to the editorial? How does it start? Drawing the line. Underline that expression. Draw a line. Meaning of that, to draw a line means set a limit. Set a limit. Draw a line. I don't want to draw a line when it comes to that particular aspect. Means what? I don't want to set a limit. You can go to any extent. But once I say, I have drawn a line, don't cross the line, means what? There is a limit, don't cross the limit. Have you got the meaning? Drawing the line. Drawing the line regarding what? There are two dimensions. One, on information. Underline the word information. Second thing, and risks underlying infrastructure development in Uttarakhand. One is information, the other one, risks related to infrastructure development. Two ideas. But the main idea, information aids. Already the word is in bold. Then I take a pause, you have to respond. Part of speech. Aid can be a noun, can be a verb. Write both. Aid, A-I-D. Can be a noun, can be a verb. In the context, it has been used as a noun or as a verb. As a verb. It is in present, S has been added to the verb. Means, please write the meaning, help. A simple word. Aid means what? Help. Information aids public safety. When information is open, disseminated, public feel safe. helps in public safety. It is not a trigger for panic. The word panic, I take a pause, you have to respond. Panic could be a noun, could be a verb. Panic, panicked, panicked, right? The part of speech as a verb. As a verb, what does it mean? Panic means what? Fear, to get afraid, to get frightened. Panic. Generally we say, when you go to the exam hall, you see the paper, many questions you find difficult, then what happens? It triggers panic. Then we say, don't panic. If the paper is tough for you, it is tough for everyone. Give your best. So the main idea, it talks about information aids public safety. It is not a trigger for panic. If you hold information thinking that it is going to create panic among the public, that is not a good idea. Information should help the public. It starts with the year, a bad year for the people of Uttarakhand. The year began on a calamitous note. Calamity we have got so many times. Part of speech? Please write the word form, very calamitous, adjective. But what is the noun form? Calamity. Means what? You can write words like a mishap, a disaster, something that is destructive, a destructive incident or event. And another important word, catastrophe. Remember, we have got this also. You have to recollect all the words. Mishap, disaster, something that is destructive, catastrophe. And what is a typical combination that goes with the word disaster? A natural disaster. What is an example for natural disaster? Earthquake, floods, all these. The year began on a calamitous note with reports that the temple town of Joshimath in the Chamoli district of Uttarakhand was sinking. And there is one important word. Last time I did the same editorial related to this problem. Do you remember? Almost 2 weeks over. We got one important word, sinking of land. What is the word? Subsidence. Very good. That has been used many a time. Was sinking, and that cracks had happened on residential and commercial structures. What is the problem over there in Uttarakhand? They showed on TV many a time. Two problems. One problem, the buildings have started developing cracks. Obviously you get scared or you don't get scared. You get scared. Another thing, more worrisome, the land started going down, caving in. For that we use the word subsidence or subsidence. Remember that word, important word. So it talks about the cracks had appeared, which tense is that? First incident, cracks had appeared on residential and commercial structures. So the first sentence talks about the problem related to the buildings and the roads. And based on that they have used past perfect. And the response of the public or the reaction of the public. Second sentence talks about these cracks and these the caving in of roads has resulted in panic. Because of panic, the people of that region, what have they done? Second sentence talks about that. This prompted a humanitarian crisis. Underline the expression humanitarian crisis. With people fleeing, one word in bold, flee. I don't want to say every day. Please write a verb. What is the past form? Flee, fled, fled. That is important. Flee means to run away. To run away. Whenever you are in panic, you are in fear, you run away. Flee. Flee, fled, fled. Usually it goes with thieves and terrorists. This prompted a humanitarian crisis with people fleeing and taking refuge. Pause. Noun. Please write noun. A refuge meaning, last time also they have used the same word, shelter. Take refuge somewhere, take shelter. But you have to recollect the related word. What is the related word? A refugee. Who is a refugee? Someone has a problem in a particular country and he leaves that country and seeks shelter in some other country. We call that person a refugee. And a country which provides a shelter, what is the term for that? Shelter is a simple word, right? The word asylum. The other country provides, or these refugees seek political asylum. Means what? Political shelter. But sometimes what happens, a person, some political turmoil, some political problem, they leave, a lot of people leave a particular country. We use the word refugees. A lot of people leave a country and go to some other country. That mass migration, there is one important word. What is that word? Write the word exodus. Exodus means mass migration of people. An important word that given many a time. Exodus, mass migration of people. A lot of people migrate from one country to another country. What do you call that? Exodus, important word. But there's another important word you have to recollect. What is that? Sometimes a person commits a crime in a particular country and escapes to some other country. What is the word for that person? Very good. Write the word fugitive. A typical example today, Vijay Mallya. That's a typical example. Fugitive. And one Modi is also there. Which Modi? Nirav Modi, I suppose. Fugitives. So related words, let us go to. This prompted a humanitarian crisis with people fleeing and taking refuge in tents and open spaces, fearing that their homes would crumble. Crumble means what? To come down, to crash. Write the meaning if you don't know. Crumble is also a verb. To crash or to come down. The building has crumbled means what? Came down, crashed. And the first sentence talks about the problem. Second sentence talks about the response to the problem. There is a problem of cracks and caving in. Based on that, people panicked. They started fleeing away. Third sentence talks about a reason, a proximate reason. Write the meaning. Proximity means what? First you write the word proximity. Proximity. Closeness. Closeness. There is a common error here. Put a star mark the word proximity. And a lot of people say, common error, write this expression, close proximity. Proximity means what? Closeness. Then you cannot say close proximity. That is a common error. Proximity. Proximate reason means closest reason. Also write the word immediate reason. What does it mean? Proximity. Proximity. Immediate, nearest, closest reason. The approximate reason for the acceleration in the fissures. Accelerate means what? Speed up. You all know the word speed up, but what is a better word? Okay. Write the word expedite. Speed up, simple expression, which is a better word. Expedite. Accelerate, all related words. Approximate reason for the acceleration in the fissures. Fissure, one meaning crack. But next word also, what is the next word? Fissures and cracks. And one more meaning of the word fissure, write the meaning. Fissure also means state of disagreement. A state of disagreement. State of disagreement, fissure. Something like friction. Approximate reason for the acceleration in the fissures and cracks was attributed. Attribute means you give the credit to someone or something for a particular result. Imagine tomorrow you get the job and there is a success meet. You come onto the stage and you have to speak for some time. Then you say, I attribute my success to my parents. Means what? You give the credit of your success to your parents. Have you got the meaning? Attribute, an important word. It's a regular verb. So this sentence talks about the reason was attributed to. Means the actual reason. What could be the actual reason? Tunneling activities from the Tapovan Vishnugat power project being developed by the National Thermal Power Corporation. National Thermal Power Corporation is developing a particular project. What is that project? Power project. Tapovan Vishnugarh Power Project. And whenever they want to construct a power project, perhaps they have to do tunneling. I am sure you all know the word tunnel. Sometimes if you go to a hilly region, you go by train. And the train has to go through a few mountains. Mountains, obviously, they act as impediments or blocks or hurdles. So what they do, they create a tunnel. The train passes through the tunnel. But there is one important expression. Please write the expression, idiomatic expression. Light at the end of a tunnel. I see light at the end of the tunnel, or of a tunnel or the tunnel. Light at the end of the tunnel means what? Hope, some hope. You see some hope. Have you got the meaning? I see light at the end of the tunnel. I see a hope. I hope you guys got it. Fine. It talks about the reason behind. What is the reason behind? A power project. I hope you guys are with me. Power project. That goes with development. There were also concerns on whether groundwater depletion, underline the word depletion. We have been getting, remember, deplete means what? Go down in number, quality, quantity, whatever. Groundwater depletion, important expression. Or increased urbanization that encouraged a faulty construction. Two reasons again. One, depletion of groundwater. Second, faulty construction. Had reached a point, underline had reached, past perfect, a point from which, underline the phrase, a point from which disasters had become inevitable. Because of all these developmental activities, they have reached a point. Once you reach that point, negative dimension, negative impact begins. A point from which disasters had become inevitable. What is the meaning of the word inevitable? Unavoidable. Means you cannot stop. That's what's happening over there. To address all these, underline the word address. Part of speech in this context, what is it? As such, address noun. But in this context, what is it? A verb. To address means what? To deal with. Very good. If you respond, I appreciate. To deal. Address the problem. Deal with the problem. To address the problems. What has the government done? See how the editorial is taking you. It started with the problems over there. Then it went on to the reaction of the public. They started pleading. Then it touched the reasons behind the cracks, the power project, and two more reasons, depletion of water resources, and one more reason is what? Faulty construction. Then it talks about what the government has done, how the government has responded. Next sentence. To address all these, the Uttarakhand State Disaster Management Authority had commissioned, underline had commissioned. Today so many times, past perfect tense, not present perfect, had commissioned 8 reputed institutions. Underline the word reputed. Repute, part of speech, noun. He is a man of repute. Write one expression. He is a man of repute. Generally we say he has very good reputation. You all know that pattern. Better expression, he is a man of repute. Means what? He has very good reputation. Name. Reputed institutions means what? Standard institutions. 8 reputed institutions to study the land subsidence. Subsidence. What important word? What does it mean? Caving in. Remember last time I talked about, while talking about this word, convex, concave. It is like the road should be flat, but it goes down. Then you call it subsidence or subsidence. The major problem. Land subsidence phenomenon, underline the word phenomenon. Phenomenon singular or plural? Singular. What is the plural? Phenomena. That you have to recollect, and related words also you have to recollect. land subsidence phenomenon from multiple angles. Surprisingly, now it has instituted or commissioned 8 reputed institutions. Generally what happens, a particular institution comes into picture to study the disaster, to study the problem, and they have to make the information public. They have to disseminate the information. There is one important word, you will come across that later. Dissemination of information, an important expression, means what? Spreading the information, giving the information to the public. But here it did not happen. This sentence talks about, surprisingly, it banned the public dissemination of information. Please put a star mark the word dissemination. Part of speech? Write the meaning, spreading. It goes with information. Dissemination of information means what? Spreading of information. It banned, which is not acceptable. Surprisingly, it banned the public dissemination of information from scientists involved with the institutions on the grounds that, what is the reason for banning the dissemination of information to public? On the grounds, underline the phrase, on the grounds, means what? On the reasons. On the grounds that satellite imagery pictures from Indian and international sources of the subsurface in Uttarakhand were aggravating panic. There are 2 words over here, but already you got the word panic, fear. Aggravate means what? Part of speech, aggravate. Verb, what does it mean? Make something, already something is bad. You make something worse. It is like adding fuel to the fire. Aggravate, don't aggravate the situation, generally we say. Because of that aggravating panic, and that information was to be shared only after it was cleared by the center. So they did not give the information to the public. What was the reason for that? They said the information would create panic among the public. So we will not disclose the information, we will disclose only after we get the clearance from the center. But obviously it is not acceptable. Based on that, the High Court gave strong rebuke. There is one important word. First I will read the sentence. The net result of this is that despite reports of all institutions being available for months, they had the reports, they had the information. It took a strong rebuke. Rebuke is an important word. Part of speech? It can be a noun, it can be a verb. Please write both. It's a regular verb. Write simple word first. A rebuke means what? Scold. Then you write the word reprimand. We have got these words many a time. Also write the word chide. Write the word admonish. They all mean the same. Rebuke, scold, reprimand, chide, admonish, same. But scold is, I'm sure you all know the word scold. A strong rebuke, it took a strong rebuke from the High Court of Uttarakhand last week for the state authorities to make this information public. Because the High Court scolded, they made the information public. That's what it means. So the first part is over. What does the first part talk about? Try to get the broad framework. Touches the problem, response of the public, reasons behind, and the role of the state government, commissioning of 8 reputed institutions, holding the information, based on the review from the High Court, making the information public. Now we'll go to the second part. What is that information and what is a report? Though these reports are technical, they reiterate. I use this word quite often. Reiterate means what? Stress something. Reiterate, part of speech, verb. Reiterate means stress. Also write the word emphasize. Stress, emphasize. These reports are technical. They reiterate what has been known. Important expression, please underline what has been known. Tell me which tense is that? Present perfect active voice or passive voice? Please write passive voice. Important pattern. What has been known about the risks underlying infrastructure development in Uttarakhand? Last time when I did the editorial, it was all about the negative impact of infrastructure development. Now it's an open secret. In the hilly regions, if you go to the hilly region, This is which place are we talking about? Uttarakhand. That is at the foothills of Himalayas, and it is a fragile ecosystem. Any ecosystem fragile, delicate, we got to handle carefully or carelessly? Carefully. But they went on constructing dams and thermal power projects, so many projects that resulted in this particular whatever they have been experiencing. And now it is an open secret. What has been known about the risks underlying infrastructure development in Uttarakhand? Now it provides the report, information related to the report from two reputed institutions. One, the Central Building Research Institute, Roorkee, for instance, pointed out that 99% of construction in the region did not comply with the mandatory building codes. Comply with, we got yesterday also, means what? Follow, simple. And mandatory means what? Compulsory. Now what is the paradox here? What is the percentage? 99% did not follow. That is ridiculous. Second institute, the National Institute of Hydrology, Roorkee, in its report said that the network of springs, spring has many meanings. What is a regular, first you write the word spring, part of speech, noun. One meaning, something that is elastic, you all know that, spring. But another meaning, season, put a star mark, spring, write the word season, star mark. Tell me why is it important, exam point of view. In one exam they give a question, the spring season has its own beauty, right or wrong? Wrong. Why? Spring is considered feminine. Then we have to use her. The spring season has her own beauty. That is the second one. But in this context, it is not the first meaning, it is not the second meaning, a third meaning. Springs means, related to brackets, you write plural form, water. Water fountains, natural water fountains, usually I say, natural water fountains. And not in our country, if you go to the US, Europe, you come across, have you copied all these words? Write this expression, hot springs. Hot springs are very popular, they are famous tourist destinations. A lot of people go to see hot springs. Water gushes out like a fountain and it's a little warm, sometimes very hot. And it forms beautiful structures and people go have a look, hot springs. It talks about those springs. And we do have, it means network of springs we do have, but not very popular. And drainage systems and areas of subsidence may influence land subsidence, and there was a need to monitor them. So what are the reasons based on the second report of the second institute, the National Institute of Hydrology? The reasons could be network of springs, drainage systems, and areas of subsidence may influence land subsidence, and there was a need to monitor them. They have to monitor. Overall, the tenuous geology, we have got the word tenuous many a time. What does it mean? A weak. Tenuous means a weak. Does it sound familiar or no? Tenuous reasons, weak reasons. Tenuous geology, weak geology. Himalayas, fragile ecosystem, weak. Overall, the tenuous geology made city-like infrastructure projects risky. It is a small hill station and a hilly region. They go in for city-like infrastructure. Is it a mismatch or not? Mismatch, obviously. City-like infrastructure projects are risky, and strict town planning and construction measures were necessary to minimize the risk from accidents and the loss of lives, obviously. While there is a legitimate case for ensuring that citizens in the hill states are not denied, deny here means what? Refuse, not denied basic amenities. Amenities means facilities. Write the meaning of the word amenities, facilities. Not denied basic amenities and opportunities for material advancement. It is incumbent upon governments to take hard decisions that are sustainable as against those that are aimed to score in the next election. What does the sentence mean? The government has to focus on sustainable practices. And there is one word here in bold. What is that word? Incumbent. Already we have got this word many a time. Tell me which part of speech is it? It is an incumbent government adjective. And there I gave the meaning incumbent government, incumbent chief minister means what? The one in power. But here different meaning. It is incumbent on governments. Please write the word incumbent and write the second meaning we have come across for the first time. Here incumbent means obligatory. You all know the word obligation. It is incumbent on the government means what? It is an obligation for the government. It is obligatory on the government. A new meaning altogether. Obligatory upon governments to take hard decisions. So governments have to take hard decisions when it comes to sustainable practices, and they should not think in terms of next election. Next election they will compromise. They will not focus on sustainability. But the editorial says they have to think of sustainable practices and not about next elections. How does the editorial end? A necessary step is in ensuring that information, it comes back to the main idea, information dissemination, and also the risks involved with infrastructure. A necessary step is in ensuring that information on the risks is widely disseminated, means widely spread, and communicated in a way that it becomes a part and parcel of public life. Those words are in bold. Means what? Part and parcel means integral part of something. Integral part. Please write the expression. Integral part. It is part and parcel of his life. Means it is integral part of his life. The last sentence, independent scientific council must form the backbone. They have to establish independent scientific council, must form the backbone of policy making, and clear lines must be drawn. Talks about the main idea. Line must be drawn. Clear lines must be drawn. Must be drawn active voice or passive voice? Passive voice. Around the limits to development in the region. When it comes to limits to the development, they have to draw a line. It ends on that note. A familiar editorial, not that difficult to comprehend. Let us go to questions based on this editorial. Have you brought a handout? Yesterday's editorial. Good. But today also have brought, no problem. Read the first question. What was the approximate reason for the acceleration in fissures and cracks in the Chamoli district? Option number A, tunneling activities from a power project. Not increased urbanization, not excessive rainfall, not earthquake. What did the Central Building Research Institute, Roorkee, find regarding construction complaints in the region? What is the percentage? C, 99% compliance with building codes. That is not at all shocking actually. 9% also not acceptable. They are doubled, 99%. So we have to appreciate that 1% who followed the rules and regulations. Question number 3. According to the National Institute of Hydrology, Roorkee, what factors could influence land subsidence in Uttarakhand? Is it volcanic activity? No way. Network of springs, drainage systems and areas of subsidence. Answer is B. Excessive vegetation, air pollution, no. What does the article emphasize as a necessary step for responsible governance in Uttarakhand? Increasing urbanization, encouraging infrastructure development without limitations, disseminating information on risks. So what is the answer? C is the answer. That is the main idea. They have to make the information public, disseminate, spread out. What does the article suggest should form the backbone of policy making in the region? Is it political agendas? No. Economic interests? No. What is the third option? Independent scientific council. All, they enhance your reading comprehension skill. And now the same exercises what I brought yesterday. You don't have to refer yesterday's handout. You see the same exercises. You have 5 idioms and 5 meanings you have to choose. First one is what? Someone is in hot water means what? Tell me the option number. To be in trouble or facing difficulties. Answer is C. Throw cold water on someone or something. Answer is B is not correct. Who says E? That is the answer. To discourage or dampen enthusiasm for an idea or a plan. You come up with a plan, someone discourages, then what do you say? He threw cold water on my plan. What is the third one here? Hold water. Put a star mark. It has been given a bit difficult to guess also. Tell me what is the meaning. How many of you say A is the answer? That is the answer. And write one sentence. His argument holds water. His argument holds water. His argument holds water means what? It sounds logical. It sounds valid. That's why I said important. And what is the third one? Fish out of water. You have got a few times. How many of you say D? D is the answer. To feel uncomfortable or out of place in a particular situation. What is the last one? Test the waters. What are you left with? B. To cautiously try something before fully committing. Test the waters. Now, based on, see, first 5 idioms go with water. I did one editorial on the Kaveri water problem, remember? So I brought idioms related to water. And that was a dispute. Now 5 phrasal verbs based on dispute, the concept of dispute. What is the first one here? Iron out. Tell me what is the answer. Is it A? No. Go to the, look at all the options. How many of you say D is the answer? D is the answer. Iron out the differences means to work through and resolve the details or issues in a dispute or plan. Iron out means clear the problem, clear the dispute through discussion. What is the second one here? Back down, easy. Back down means what? What is the answer? Option number E. To withdraw from a dispute or argument, often due to pressure or realizing one's position is untenable, means weak. Third one, brush aside. How many of you say B? Brush aside means to dismiss or ignore someone's objections or concerns in a dispute. Someone says something, your opponent says something, and you don't want to consider. You tell your friend, brush those aside. Means don't consider, ignore. What is the next one? Lash out. How many of you say C? That is the answer. To react angrily or aggressively in response to a dispute or criticism. What is the last one? Stand up to. Stand up to the manager, stand up to the opponent means A is the answer. To resist or confront someone or something in a dispute. You got all the 5. Easy or difficult? Go to write about the editorial in brief. How many sentences do you see here? 5 sentences. When you go to the 5 sentences, you should get an idea how to write about the editorial. And here you see certain words in bold. What are those words? Part of speech, tell me. All are verbs. The article highlights. You can also substitute. The article talks about. The article describes. The article emphasizes. Try to substitute when you write on your own. What does it highlight? The critical situation in Uttarakhand, particularly in the Chamoli district, where infrastructure development has been marred by associated risk. And here you have to understand the idea and you have to rephrase. What is the second sentence? What is the word in bold? Underscores. Underscore means what? Emphasize, make something important. It underscores a recent crisis in the temple town of Joshimath, where sinking structures and cracks in buildings triggered panic and forced residents to flee. Catch the idea. The it talks about what here? The crisis. What is the crisis? Cracks in the buildings, subsidence, and based on the reaction of the public, fleeing the place. Rephrase and write. Third point, the article criticizes the authorities. You have listened to my analysis. Tell me, why does the article criticize the authorities? What is the reason? Tell in brief. Related to information, so why does it criticize? Holding or not holding? Holding the information. They did not make the information public. And the article says they have to make it public. They have to disseminate. The article criticizes the authorities for withholding vital information. You can also write for holding the information, for not disclosing the information, for not revealing the information. Use your vocabulary and rewrite. That will help. I hope you are getting what I am trying to say. And one more dimension, then how do you introduce? It also touches. We can also say besides the above mentioned point, it touches. Besides means what? In addition to. It also touches compliance issues. Now we have read how many, what is the percentage? 99%. That you could talk about when it comes to building codes. And also one more dimension, importance of network of springs, drainage systems, all these. The article demands something. Usually article editorials, they take up an issue, they provide the background information, and they try to suggest, they provide a solution, or they demand. Call for means what? Demand. The article calls for responsible governance. What is responsible governance? Based on the editorial, one is making information public, second, going in for sustainable practices, and taking the experts' views, whatever. Governance that prioritizes public safety and sustainable policies in the face of increasing urbanization and infrastructure development in Uttarakhand. You can also say the article calls for drawing a line when it comes to infrastructure development. Have you got it? This is only to give you an idea how to write about the editorial. Somewhere you have to start. Take these 5 sentences, rephrase each one. And when you add all these, it is about the editorial in brief. As simple as that. Now you got to respond quickly. You must have seen something new when it comes to vocabulary. Tell me what is new here. I have been bringing Monday words, Tuesday words, and I am going to add. By the time we go to Saturday, what will happen? You have all the words you got in 1 week. Then in a way, useful or not useful? All the words you can make a note, easy words, difficult words. Difficult words you have to revise and consolidate. Tell me what is the meaning of pangs? A sudden critical problem or sudden emotional problem. Innocuous, part of speech. Innocuous treatment, adjective, means what? Harmless. Flag, tell both noun, verb. As a verb, what does it mean? Mark something as important. Demographic, adjective. But what is the noun form? Demography, means what? Related to population. Moot, part of speech, verb. What does it mean? To raise a question or to make something subject of discussion or debate. Efficacy. First you have to tell the part of speech. Noun, meaning efficiency. It goes with what usually? Medicine, I said. Vigorous, adjective, meaning, every time don't expect me to say, lively, full of energy. And pursuit, noun. Pursue, verb. Pursuit, noun. Means what? To pursue something, to follow something, to chase something. A regime, noun. What does it mean? Current government, usually authoritative, need not be all the time. Manifest, verb. What does it mean? It has many meanings based on the editorial. Show or display. Show, display. Mandatory. Mandate is a noun form and also the verb form. Mandatory act, mandatory something, adjective. Mandatory means what? Compulsory. No frills bank account. Adjective means what? No extras. And weed out, phrasal verb. What does it mean? To remove the weeds. Lapse. Lapse can be a noun, can be a verb. There was a lapse on my part, noun. It lapsed, the time lapsed. It's a verb. Lapse means what? Temporary failure of something, goes with memory and system. Jeopardize, the verb, means what? Endanger or threaten. Important word. Twice lapse. Flaw, mistake. Without mistakes, flawless. What is the other word, better word? Impeccable. Flawless English, impeccable English, without mistakes. And edify has two different meanings. What is the first and typical meaning? Imposing building. You see a big building, you get impressed. Imposing building edifies. Does it go with the context? No. What is the second meaning? A system of beliefs. A system of something. In the context of the editorial, it refers to Aadhaar. We don't have time to work on other words, but please go through after the session the other words. Important words you try to spend some time and consolidate. That's all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. Some student, before I wind up, one student came to me, gave the feedback. He wanted para-jumbles, he wanted idioms. I appreciate if you give me the feedback, your expectations. Then we can make the session better. Somewhere I feel there is a problem. What is the problem? Generally when I talk, you want to listen. Yes or